everyone and welcome to my channel. My name's Amy and I have videos relating to my active fentanyl addiction, and also I have prison related content as well. So if those things do interest you, then please don't hesitate to subscribe. I will also be filming me actually coming off fentanyl, the whole withdrawal process. It's going to be a whole situation and it's not going to be a very pretty one, but it will be a very honest one. So again, if that's something that is of interest to you, then please do subscribe. This is going to be another video relating to my active fentanyl addiction. As you can tell by the title, it's going to be based on sort of how I navigate through life with an active addiction and how that kind of impacts on me, things I have to think about, all that sort of thing that kind of come quite naturally to me, but to other people probably seem really weird. So I've been on fentanyl now for a good number of years, opiates even longer, and fentanyl is, for me, it comes in a patch form which I change every 3 days, and it has to be at exactly the same time every 3 days. So for me, it's first thing, as soon as I get up, 7 o'clock in the morning, patch is changed, has to be at the same time. The reason being for this, and this kind of leads on to one of the main things and the main ways it impacts me, is because I start withdrawing. I start withdrawing the evening before my pain gets a lot worse. I start going quite hot, a little bit dizzy. Sometimes I can feel quite sick. And that's just the fact that the medication is starting to decline. Obviously, a certain amount is to be released kind of into my system, and that is on a decline, so it's kind of tolerable until the night time. So I sleep for the first few hours and then it gets really bad and I start really going into withdrawals. So I go from sweated, absolutely covered in sweat, my hair's wet, my bedding's wet, and then 2 minutes later I'm shivering and I'm freezing cold. I feel really sick. I just feel generally quite unwell, and that's my body needing that medication, and then I will not sleep. So that is the first thing. I need to know that A1, I'm not running out and I have patches, because that's another thing, it just caused me a little bit of anxiety. I need to know that I'm not going to run out because I can't be without it. So I need to know I've got patches, especially if like I'm going away or whatever. I need to obviously plan, okay, I've got this, it's going to be this many days, I need to make sure that I've got them and then I can change them at the right time. That's kind of absolutely probably the most important thing is those two things. Kind of leading on to that is the fact that my sleep's also really impacted. So I was due to change my patch this morning, so therefore from, I don't know, probably most of the night, I sleep a few hours maybe at the beginning, but then it's very on and off because I am going through withdrawals and my body's saying like, I need this medication, I need this drug, we need it now. So my mind just can't sleep because that's all I'm thinking of, plus I'm having the physical symptoms of withdrawing as well. So sleep's really impacted. And then also the day that I changed my patch, so this morning I changed my patch, tonight I get a bit of insomnia. It used to be a hell of a lot worse where I literally would not get a minute's sleep. Now I do, but again, it is very on and off. I struggle to get to sleep, so I won't get to sleep till maybe 1-2 o'clock. And then I generally wake up quite early and I'm kind of on and off throughout the night as well. For me, that's quite a small price to pay, struggling with a few nights sleep a week. Probably it's about half and half. I'll maybe get, 4 good nights sleep, 3 very poor. And for me, that's a small price to pay for the benefits that I have from the fentanyl, but it is something that I've had to get used to because I love my sleep, and not being able to always have it can be a bit of an issue, especially if you know you need to be up in the morning and you've had the worst night's sleep. You do just feel really groggy. Today I do feel exhausted, really groggy, not very with it because I had a poor night's sleep last night. So it is something that I do have to kind of bear in mind, especially if I know I need to be up for something. Kind of a benefit off the back of that is the day that I've changed my patch, I tend to get loads done. I'm a bit groggy in the morning, but because I can't sleep and I don't get tired towards the end of the day, I get all my cleaning done, I'm dead motivated, anything that needs doing I get it done. So that is a benefit that I've actually noticed of of being on fentanyl and how that has impacted on my life as well. Something else that I have had to kind of deal with, I have done a video about this, is the side effects of being on fentanyl. There is millions. I experience quite a lot. It isn't generally as bad as it used to be for most of the side effects, but there are some that do still impact me quite a lot. I would say a big one is the kind of nausea and dizziness that I tend to get the day that I've changed my patch. So in the past I wouldn't eat for a few days sometimes. Now it tends to be, you know, a day max, but it's usually this morning I had a little bit of breakfast and I haven't eaten since then. It's now like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the evening. I haven't eaten since then. I might have a little bit later, but because I do feel really, really nauseous. I used to be really, really sick, but I don't really get that anymore. It's just more the feeling sick. I also still get quite dizzy, so these are just things I have to think about in my life. If I'm going to go out for dinner, for example, and it's when I've changed my patch, I need to really, really consider it and think about what is the best way to play it. If I know I'm going on a long drive, for example, I have to think about the dizziness that I'm going to get. There's just lots to contend with. I get brain fog, so if I, had an interview, for example, I'd need to really consider the fact that I do get brain fog. I do get to the point where I'm trying to get a word out and I really can't get the word out. I know it in my brain and it just doesn't come out of my mouth. So it's really frustrating. I also get really itchy, and that's something I'm really paranoid about, especially if I'm around a new group of people. At the moment I'm trying to fight it, but I'm so itchy, and it's something I just don't want people looking at me like I've got fleas or something. So yeah, that's another thing that I think about quite a lot, and I do have to consider. Nothing major. I mean, the sickness and the dizziness are obviously quite major things, especially if I'm driving and what have you, but the other things aren't too major, but it is something that I do have to consider. Kind of touching on what I said earlier about making sure that I have the medication as well. It's something that is a process. It is something I have to plan out, because it's not a drug that any pharmacies generally hold. It's not a drug you can even get in the hospital. When I went to hospital last year, I needed it and none of the hospitals in the city centre had it. They had to literally hunt around the whole of the county to try and find some. So obviously I have to plan in my head, okay, I've got this many patches left. I need to pre-order now because I physically cannot be without this drug. And because it's not something a lot of people know about, a lot of the staff don't actually realise how serious it is, and the fact that I literally cannot be without this medication. Because I go into withdrawals, they've left me for long periods of time saying they're processing it. It's not until I've said, this is really serious, I need this medication, I go into major withdrawals. The pain is absolutely insufferable, to a point where I literally feel like I can't even get out of bed, and sometimes I physically cannot get out of bed because the pain is that bad. So again, it's just something I need to consider. The other thing as well, obviously, like I say, my pain does get quite bad towards the night before I change my patch. So I need to think about, okay, if I'm going to do something that other than just lay on the sofa all evening, I need to maybe take some extra medication. So I might need to take some morphine on top, or some tramadol or something just to tide me over, because like I say, other than just lying on the sofa, I do struggle to do, even just washing my hair in the shower can be really quite difficult because it is so painful. Getting dressed, doing those sorts of things, and again in the morning of as well, it does take sort of 2-3 hours to kick in. So again, I struggled this morning. I was really struggling with getting dressed and doing my hair and just getting ready in the morning. It is quite difficult because the pain is so bad. So it's just something I need to consider. If I go away, I'm like a walk-in pharmacy. I have so much medication on me, so much extra drugs in case of every kind of possible outcome. I've got this, I've got that, I've got the other, and that needs to pretty much come everywhere with me when I go to work. I've got so many extra medications in case my patch falls off. I need to think about that. In case I forgot to change it, which very rarely happens, but if I forgot to change it, or I was just really struggling with my pain because it's the day before, I have to have something for every eventuality, so I have to carry extra medication wherever I go. It does cause me quite a lot of anxiety if I don't have those medications, because I do worry, okay, what if I get really bad pain? Because I know I literally can be bedbound with it. I know it's not just a case of I'm a bit uncomfortable or it's a bit sore. It is literally gonna completely knock me off my feet, and I need to be in bed, and I need to be in bed now. So that's something else, like the anxiety of all of it, and the fact that I think about fentanyl so much throughout my day. I think about it all the time. Either change my patch today, the pain is going to be so much better, I'm going to feel a bit of a burst, I'm going to feel really motivated, or it's patch change day tomorrow and I'm going to be relieved from this pain, I'm going to feel good, and it's like looking forward to it. And there is a lot of kind of anxiety and just general thoughts that surround it. I do not go a single day without thinking about it, and it is such a huge part of my life. You know, it's an active addiction that is ongoing. It's something that I do always think about. I talk about it a lot because it is such a huge part of my life. Something else, because obviously, like I said, the fentanyl is a patch. I have to be really careful if I want to go swimming or have a bath or go in a hot tub. My old job was working with hot tubs and we used to go in them quite a lot. Now what that generally means is my patch is going to come off. It sticks to my back, so obviously it being in water for a period of time, that stickiness is going to come unstuck and it's going to come away. Again, that tends to then also get rid of a lot of the actual fentanyl. So for me, I would plan it, again, with a bath, with going swimming, using the hot tub, anything where I'm going to be in water, I would have to make sure that I'm not wearing a bikini because it will completely come off. Or if I am, it's kind of, I don't know, on my bum or on my hip where it's going to hold it in place. Or I'd wear a swimming costume so it could hold it on my back. And also I would plan it so it'd be the following day that I would change my patch, so that it's not a long period of time that I'm going without it. I did a video where I mentioned me going through a short period of withdrawing because my patch had come off after being in a hot tub, and I didn't realise that it had actually come off. So obviously I need to be sure that I'm not going to go through that. So obviously when I get out, I check that it hasn't come unstuck, which it usually has, stick it back on. But because it's lost a lot of its stickiness, generally I will experience withdrawal symptoms and I want to get my new patch on quite quickly. So if I've only changed it that day, one, it's a waste, it is quite expensive, but also I'm going to be withdrawing because a lot of the medication's gone out that patch. I hope that makes sense. So that, again, that's another just consideration that I have to have. I have to think about things a lot more than you ordinarily would think about them. Another thing that I have found actually really helpful, it's not something that you have to do as an addict, but something that I do, is I do tell a lot of people. I don't word it quite that I am an addict, but I let them know I'm on very strong medication. I let my employers know, I let my close friends and family know, anybody that's around me, so that if I do start acting a little bit strange, or I have withdrawals, or I have the side effects from the fentanyl, or I'm itching a lot, as I am currently, they know that that's the reason for it. It's not because of anything else, it's just this is the reason for it. And if I'm really struggling, or I get really dizzy, I used to have periods where I would literally completely just pass out. I don't have those anymore, but anything that might happen, they're just aware of it, and it just helps everyone. They know what's going on with me. Usually they're really helpful, and they just say, is there anything that we can do to help? But also I just have that little bit of peace of mind that they know of my situation. And to be fair, everybody in my life has been really great about it. My partner especially, I've said before, he's really supportive. He really does help me with things as well. I think it's just really helpful for everyone around you to just be aware of your situation. Another thing as well would be being an addict and being an opiate addict, when you go into hospital, you know, you have surgery or you have, you know, something which you need pain relief for, it's not just as easy as just having pain relief. For example, when I went and had surgery last year, I had my appendix out. Now, when I was coming round, they'd already mentioned to me previously that we're not sure, we don't want to overdose you. We also know your tolerance is going to be pretty high for morphine because, you know, fentanyl is about 100 times stronger than morphine. But like I say, they didn't want to overdose me. I'm only small, so they had to be really, really careful. And whatever they gave me was not helpful in any way, shape or form, because I came out absolutely screaming the place down. I was in so much pain, and they gave me more, and they gave me more, and they gave me more, and I kept asking more because my tolerance was so high. So eventually they realised, okay, actually she needs quite a chunk of morphine for it to be beneficial. And I had to continue with the morphine a little bit longer than most people would, because it didn't have as much of an effect on me as well. So again, it's just something that I have to be aware of if I'm going to go in and have some sort of surgery or something where I'm going to need pain relief for, that chances are it's not going to be nearly as effective as it would for most people. I don't get any side effects, which is great from morphine. I don't get the sickness, which a lot of people get. I don't get the dizziness. I don't get the kind of passing out. Don't get that at all. They said to me, you know, likelihood is you won't want to eat when you come around because of morphine. No, I had my dinner. I was perfectly happy with that. So that was one benefit of it. I didn't experience the side effects, but I think I would have rather had it the other way around because the pain was just so bad. As I've been taking fentanyl for such a long time now, I'm aware of its strength. I'm aware that the likelihood is it's kind of too strong for my body, and that's part of the reason I've lost a lot of weight and I am quite small, is because it kind of has an effect on your metabolism, and therefore, like I say, I lost a lot of weight. So I have to be really, really conscious to make sure that I'm eating meals, I'm eating properly. Like I say, sometimes I have like a few hours or half a day where I don't eat. Generally doesn't get much more than that. Occasionally it'll be one day, but that's kind of the absolute maximum. I try my hardest not to, because I know that I drop weight really quickly and I can go from healthy to unhealthy weight so fast, scarily fast. Previously I dropped, you know, in a month I dropped from a healthy weight to unhealthy weight, and it was like a click of a fingers, I was just down. And it is scary. I look back at pictures, I was so tiny. I was really, really unhealthy, and I do not want to get back to that. I've worked really, really hard to get to the weight that I am now, the size I am. I feel really happy. I feel much more confident in the way that I look. I don't feel like I look gaunt. I don't feel like I look unhealthy anymore. I'm still small, but I'm healthy, and it's a real kind of task. I have to make sure I eat. Sometimes I really couldn't think of anything worse. I just don't want to eat, but it's in the back of my head, and my partner's great with it. He's always saying, you know, come on, have some dinner, even if you just have a little bit. And that's just something else I just have to consider, I have to think about all the time. Make sure you eat, because a lot of the time it makes me not feel hungry. So I won't eat breakfast or I won't eat lunch, and then I think, I get to the end of the day, I think I've not eaten anything all day, and that's what I used to do a lot. So it's something where I think, right, what am I having for breakfast? What am I having for dinner? What am I having for lunch? And what are my snacks that I'm having? It's something I have to think about all the time to ensure that I keep my weight up, because I don't want it to slip down to kind of where it was before. This one's kind of nothing major, but because, like I say, fentanyl comes in patch form for me and I put it on my back, something else that I do consider is kind of where I put it and what outfit I'm going to be wearing. In the winter, it's nothing really of major concern, but in the summer, if I'm going to be wearing a dress or I'm going to be wearing a crop top, I make sure that I'm putting it in the right place, because sometimes I'll put it somewhere and it will just completely ruin the outfit, because I've got this sticker, and a lot of people say, do you know you've got a sticker on your back? I'm like, yes, I know. It can ruin my outfit, so I do have to consider kind of if I'm going out, or I know I'm wearing a specific outfit, put it somewhere else, put it a bit lower or a bit higher, or my front instead of my back, just so it doesn't completely ruin the outfit, especially if I'm going somewhere nice and I'm dressing up really nice and I've got this what looks like a sticker on my bag. It's not a great look really. But again, I mean, that's it's hardly a major impact on my life. So they're kind of like the main things that I do think about, have to consider in my daily life as an addict, as somebody who takes fentanyl, as somebody who struggles with really, really severe back pain, and also the mental health and the physical implications of those things. I really do appreciate you watching this video, and I look forward to seeing you very soon. Bye bye.